Greetings, brothers and sisters. So I made a few videos about how YouTube and its new policies, its new logarithms to demonetize so-called conspiracy theory videos cost Google stock payers 8% of their market cap, their collective stock, right? And it was equal to $70 billion, right? And so I made the point that the so-called truth community is worth 8% or $70 billion worth of market cap, right, in terms of then lost revenue by trying to get rid of the so-called truthers, right, the so-called conspiracy theorists. They cost themselves, in terms of ad revenue, $70 billion in a short period of time, right? And so not only is there $8 billion worth of ad revenue, $70 billion, 8% of Google's total worth in ad revenue in conspiracy theory videos. Imagine that. The conspiracy theory videos are worth $70 billion in ad revenue. Just think about that for a second. And that Google and YouTube and the people that are pushing them are willing to lose that much money. It's worth $70 billion to them to get rid of so-called conspiracy theory videos. So think about the fear that these conspiracy theory videos, so-called truth community, is generating, and the power, therefore the power that the truth community must have. But what I forgot to include, or what I didn't realize till today, is that this $70 billion 8% number completely invalidates, right? Completely invalidates the whole argument that these corporations are saying these videos are advertiser unfriendly. So there's $70 billion worth of conspiracy theory ads out there, right? And that's just in one quarter. They lost $70 billion in the first quata of 2019. And so that means that there is $280 billion per year in marketing to the truther community by making ads that appeal to the truther community. We saw that with Taco Bell and some of these other companies. By making ads that people who have some interest in conspiracy theory videos, there's that much worth in ads that you could place on those videos in just 1 year. In 4 years, it's $1 trillion worth of ads. Now, Google might be able to make up the market share, make up the market cap in various other ways. And they can say, well, look, we survived getting rid of the truther videos, but it remains a fact that the amount of ads that they were running on these videos and the amount of ads that are not running on those videos is worth $70 billion in 3 frickin' months. So that makes all of this reasoning that all these businesses say that these conspiracy theories, these videos that are conspiracy theory videos, are so abhorrent, right, that they don't want to place ads on them. Well, they are turning away from a huge demographic. Over 50% of people have questions about the official story of 9/11, half the population, half the adult population, and another 50% think that JFK, there's a conspiracy behind JFK's murder. Now I think it's up to 60%. So you understand this, that there are conspiracy theories everywhere. They're not offensive. People have conspiracy theories in life. People think that other people are conspiring in the government and in the media. I mean, not just crazy people like they like to think. You know, I've said this over and over again. Look at any TV show, any movie, most TV shows and movies, there's a conspiracy theory. There's a conspiracy at the center of the storyline. So many of these movies and TV shows feature a conspiracy of one type or another. And so they are lying about their reasoning. All these corporations that are saying they're not placing ads, and YouTube and Google are lying as well, because the majority of the people, over 50%, that's a big demographic, half the population. You want to piss off a whole demographic of people that is, half the population, right? And not advertise them and make them feel unwanted. And if some other platform catered and wanted people who produce so-called conspiracy theory videos, they would be able to generate $70 billion worth of ads and the amount of views. I mean, people just want to place their ads in front of people who are watching shit, right? It's great that they can line up their target audience with their ads, but they really want videos that are being viewed, and they want audience members who are, watching the videos, watching the ads, and these types of things. And so the people in the so-called truth community actually do that. And so they're a valuable demographic. So the reason that they're giving, which most of us already know, has been proven completely false because of the economic power that the so-called truther movement has, right? And I've said this before, if the truther movement boycotted any of these businesses like Walmart or something like this, they would completely cave because they couldn't handle losing that much money. If they lost just 5% of their business, Walmart or some of these other companies, they would go bankrupt. They can't afford that much of a hit in their customer base. And so the so-called truther community has a major weapon they're not using. If collectively people who identify as so-called truthers, if they just banded together, a small percentage of them even, would be millions of people watching these videos and are looking into alternative versions of the news and other things. And the other important piece to this is if you look at Vivo, right? This is the big YouTube channel that runs corporate sponsored videos like Justin Bieber videos and most of these other famous artists, rappers, and pop singers. And if you look at these videos, Madonna videos, and all these kinds of videos that have very offensive, inappropriate material for children. And then you look at the violence, the fight videos. I've covered this before. Some of these other negative videos that are on there in terms of questionable content, especially for kids, but for everybody. And then you think about that there is child porn type videos and these types of groups that are on Facebook as well. So you have all these deviant type of negative videos and content, some of them even illegal, and they're aimed and targeting children. And you think about all those, dares that people did about eating Tide Pods and all that kind of other disturbing material. And the one group they're really concerned about is people think that the government is conspiring or corporations are conspiring. I mean, it's just ridiculous. See, what they're really saying is the biggest threat to the businesses and the government and all of it, right, is people who are looking for alternative narratives to the ones that are being given to them by the mainstream media and the government. And those are the people that are being targeted, not the criminals, not the perverts, not any of these deviant type of people. In fact, the government many of the people in the government and all these wealthy people engage in those deviant behaviors. But they're scared that if people start looking into this type of criminal activity, they're going to get caught, right? That's the only explanation. That there would be so much outrage from people in general, even though there isn't, even in the truth community, people talk about this and research it, but nobody ever does anything. And so, but their big fear is that the masses are going to wake up to what's being done, the true nature of the controlling system, and they're going to flip out, and these people's lives and their fortunes and their positions of power would all be in jeopardy. And so they are targeting the one group that is actually trying to expose some of these, dark behaviors and, different types of deviant behaviors that are being exhibited throughout the power structure. And so, that's obviously what's happening. I think most people understand that. But now you have confirmation because this is not a business decision, because there's $280 billion per year on the table, 8% of Google's market cap in terms of ad revenues for so-called conspiracy theory videos. And I want to say one more thing. Someone posted a comment and said, it's only a conspiracy if it isn't true. It's only a conspiracy theory if it isn't true. And I saw that actually on a TV show. Someone said that. Maybe I was watching that last night. I don't know. My wife and I were watching something. But that statement isn't accurate, right? A theory is something that hasn't been proven. There might be a lot of evidence supporting the theory, but it isn't something proven. You have to prove the theory, and then you lose the theory part of it. So it becomes conspiracy. No longer is it conspiracy theory because it's proven now. So it's a conspiracy fact, right? And so, and if there was all these crazy people, like they like to say, like Joe Rogan, these people saying it's all schizophrenics, right? If there was all these crazy people in the so-called truth community, what would be the big deal? I mean, they all say that the truth community cost Hillary Clinton the election, but, that's not accurate. They know that. I think most people know that. But what would be the big deal if crazy people got together and talked about crazy conspiracy theories because they're paranoid and delusional? There's lots of people who are paranoid and delusional, and they say, oh, everyone's out to get them, and they're freaked out, and they come up with all this wild shit. But then there's reasonable people, pretty much everyone else, that realizes that people lie. We're all liars. We've all lied at one point in our life, right? And people conspire together to screw other people out of money and resources. It's not like that far-fetched, right? How many people out there would say, no, people never conspire. People never work together to do secret, deviant, insidious plots to screw their brothers and sisters, other people, out of resources and power and things like this. People never lie to gain some sort of advantage. People never withhold information or put out disinformation to gain an advantage, right? There's a whole huge agency in our government that is secretive and lying, or the intelligence agencies, multiple agencies. Their whole existence is about spying so they can find out what other people are doing and conspiring to do. The CIA and the NSA and the FBI are always looking for conspiracies. They're looking for people who are conspiring to do wrong things in other countries or criminals or whatever it might be. And there's these various financial agencies, the FDIC, the Treasury Department, right? There's a whole department that has a law enforcement division that's there to monitor financial crimes and the kind of bullshit they're putting out on Wall Street and insider trading, which is conspiracies, right? And so, there's all these real conspiracies out there. People conspire. That's just a fact of human life, right? And so proving those conspiracies is sometimes difficult, but doesn't mean they're not true, because a lot of these conspiracies are things that people know that are illegal, but they're just not proven. And, with this $70 billion amount of possible ads on so-called conspiracy theory videos, and think about the suppression that YouTube has done and Google has done and Facebook has done to silence these people and not, they put them on the bottom of the results in search engines, right? So even with all this effort to suppress people putting out this content, there's still $70 billion worth of ads for 3 months, right? That's fucking nuts. That's crazy. Like, I had no idea these were the numbers that we're talking about. So just think about all these things, that there is a huge demographic of people that is very interested in these types of videos. And, it's different for each person. Some are lurkers. Some are just interested in it. Some watch them for entertainment. Some are really upset by everything that's going on, right? There's all these different types of people, but they are all interested. They're eyeballs, right? The modern day businesses are looking for eyeballs. They want people to watch their shit, right? They want people to watch their ads or watch their content. And now there's all this evidence that people are really into so-called conspiracy theories. It's a huge demographic. And instead of saying, okay, like with most business opportunities, when there's a huge demographic of people, the businesses cater to that demographic because it means dollars for them, right? they cater to demographics because it means more revenue. And so when you have 50 to 60% of the population that is interested in one type of content, and then you say, hey, guess what? Let's ban that content, then you must be really scared of something, right? Because there's a lot of fucking money on the table, a lot of money you're leaving on the table. And like I said, Google might be able to make up that $70 billion in different types of, videos and different types of content. But still, they're leaving $70 billion on the table and even more. If they catered to this demographic, they catered to the so-called truth community, and their various businesses tailored their ads to fit within these narratives, then, this would be a monstrous money-making. It would be a huge cash cow for them. But they're so scared of this so-called truth community that they're willing to suffer these losses, financial losses, just so they can attempt to suppress this information. But again, it's not going anywhere because the internet is the way it is, right? And there'll always be other platforms, or people will find ways around it. And so this stuff is here to stay. But instead of us saying, all right, we know this is here to stay, let's just allow it to grow and allow it to run its course, they are freaked out about it and they're trying to shut it down. This is Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the apocalypse. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.